I'm sure you remember we talked about Ruby Franke's Devil in the Family documentary on Hulu, basically talking about how she was kind of a momster.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
Mommy dearest.
Yeah. But anyway, basically.
Worse than a tiger mom.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard about this, though, basically she was a YouTube influencer of the channel 8 Passengers who was recently convicted of child abuse because one of her kids was able to escape where he was being held with her therapist, friend, and business partner.
Jody Hildebrand.
Thank you. Oh, man,
yeah.
I'm usually the one who gets that. Anyway, they were staying at her house. He was able to escape and go get help, and they found all kinds of evidence of abuse. It was a really horrible situation. Now, the interesting thing and the follow-up to all of that is that apparently down in Utah, they've actually added some laws to help protect child influencers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which first of all...
Or children of influencers?
I think it's more... I think that it's more to do with the children who create content.
Okay.
Kind of like a child actor.
All right, yeah.
Because I think children of influencers wouldn't have the same protections per se.
Got it.
But if you're using the kid in your content, then they do.
Right, like Ruby Franke was using her kids.
Exactly. Yeah. If she hadn't used her kids for her channel, it probably wouldn't have done as well as it did.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, she would have had to completely change the format of it for it to.
Mm-hmm.
So Utah's governor basically passed a law that helps to do two things. It helps to ensure that once child influencers are adults, they have a means of scrubbing the internet of their image.
Okay.
Now, I will say I don't think that that's going to be super duper effective because everyone knows that once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Well, yeah. How many kids from memes do we know? Charlie bit my finger.
Mm-hmm. It's freaking bats. I love that kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
a million of them.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But anyway, so there's that piece. I don't know how effective that's going to be per se. But the other part that I do think is a good idea is that he's basically made it so that a portion of whatever proceeds the channel makes has to be set aside for the kid.
Okay.
A la that one law in Hollywood to protect child actors.
He was a child actor that Charlie Chaplin found in the 1920s, I want to say. Jackie Coogan.
Okay, yeah.
Coogan's Law made it so that child actors couldn't get screwed out of their money.
Right.
Because I guess his parents blew everything or something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but you still hear stories of that.
You do.
Yeah.
I know it's not quite as bad now because they're because of Coogan's Law, there is now a fund set aside, but it's also a teeny tiny portion compared to the whole of it. Think of all of the child actors who literally were the breadwinner. They were the ones supporting the entire family.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. To be fair, Billy Ray did okay for himself, too.
Achy Breaky Heart did okay.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, Miley I have such respect for her.
Uh-huh.
She is a fantastic singer.
She is. Here's the thing. I think that she kind of had a rough patch for a second.
Yeah.
But she's really come into her own, and I think that she's...
Well, have you seen Billy Ray Cyrus lately?
Oh, no.
He looks like he's trying to be Rob Zombie's younger, more attractive brother or something. It's weird, dude.
That's
You're
funny.
always going to be Mr. Achy Breaky Heart. Okay?
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
And where content creation is the future, it makes sense that they're finally putting a law like this in place.
Yeah, and should be everywhere.
I was going to say, I feel like it should be federal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it seems nuts to me that it's only in one state,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of makes you wonder about some of the big child influencers right now and what's going to happen to them as they get older. It's going to be a neat case study, I guess. And one thing that I thought was really interesting in the article that I read about this is that her oldest daughter said something along the lines of, because her mom was always trying to strike content gold, she ended up viewing her kids as employees rather than children that needed to be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Means to an end instead of,
I think that you can't really view them as your kids if you're willing to do what she did to them.
Yeah.
There's got to be some disconnect there.
She's already been proven guilty, so I don't think I'm saying anything surprising when I say she went crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And while we're on the true crime tip, last week read details about how prosecutors want to use a paper Bryan Kohberger wrote at college, sort of against him.
Right. Okay. I think I've heard a little bit about this because I was following this when it first happened. And I believe it's the one where he basically pulled a bunch of former prisoners to kind of get their opinions on like, how did you feel when you committed the crime? I think one of the questions was like, would you do it again? Or like,
well, yeah, he was studying criminology.
Right.
Doesn't everybody think that he got a little too interested in his studies? And
yeah, that's definitely been one of the big theories.
Now we have the Moscow 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and
Moscow 4. I'm sorry.
And some people also think that he was sort of using that paper to plan his crime a little too.
Right.
Because I know that he asked something about like, how did you get caught or something like that. So kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he had lots of questions that sort of could help him plan out his own.
Right.